When I'm going to create an object for a class, at that time constructor will be called automatically. After that, I have one function. Can I call this display function as a constructor? When I'm using this destructor, at that time the name of a destructor must be preceded by tilde symbol. Whatever the value that you are going to give for m and n, that will be copied to a and b respectively. Hello everyone, I welcome to the last session on constructor and destructor. Myself Rohini TS, lecturer in computer science, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So before getting into the today's session, I would like to recap the previous session content. What are all the things that we have discussed in a previous session? We'll have a recap now. So in previous session, I had a discussion regarding the types of constructor. Can you just recall what are all the things that I have discussed in the previous session? How many types we have in constructor? There we have 3 types. Which are those then? That is default constructor, parameterized constructor, then copy constructor. Coming to the default constructor, it won't accept or it won't take any of the arguments or parameter. In order to perform some of the operation, it won't take any of the parameter. That is regarding what? Default constructor. So coming to the parameterized constructor, it has a ability to take 2 or more arguments or a parameter within it. That is regarding parameterized constructor. In copy constructor, I am going to use this type of constructor in order to copy the content of one object to the another object. What I am doing there? I am going to copy the content of one object to the another object. For that, I am not going to send the whole copy of an object. Instead of that, I am going to send only the address. That is nothing but what? Reference. Getting? So it's all about previous sessions. Now let me get into this today's session. What ma'am, what we have for today's session? So we'll see now. In today's session, I will be discussing how can I invoke or how can I call the constructor function. You all know that constructor is a special member function and it will be called when an object is created. When it will going to call, it will be called when an object is created for a class. Even though I have several types in order to invoke or in order to call the constructor function. Then we'll see what are the methods that I can use in order to call or in order to invoke the constructor. There we have 3 types, that is explicit call, implicit call, or I can initialize an object. What I can do? I can initialize an object during its declaration with an assignment operator. Here, object plays an important role. Right? What plays important role here? Object. Because when I'm going to create an object for a class, at that time constructor will be called automatically. So that with the help of all these 3 methods, I can invoke or I can call constructor function. So now we'll see each type of method in order to call or invoke the constructor. So along with that, I am going to discuss regarding what do you mean by constructor overloading and what is destructor. So these are all the topics that I will be covering on today's session. Let me get into the first topic, that is invoking of a constructor or a calling of a constructor. So which are the methods then in order to invoke the constructor? So there I have 3 types of methods, that is implicit call, explicit call, or with the help of assignment operator, I can initialize an object at the time of its declaration. So now we'll see the first methods of invoking the constructor. Which is the first method then? That is implicit call. What is this implicit call? By making use of this implicit method of invoking the constructor, I am not going to do anything. That means it will going to perform or it will going to invoke the constructor by itself. So that means what? Inside the function, it will going to invoke. User or a programmer no need to send any of the external factors in order to make or in order to invoke the constructor to be called. That is nothing but implicit. So I am going to explain you one program regarding this implicit call. So if you learn this implicit call program, then you can use a same program in order to write an answer for both explicit as well as using of the object at the time of its declaration using assignment operator. So listen to me carefully regarding this explanation of a implicit call. So implicit in the sense It will be happened inside the machine. User or a programmer no need to send any content in order to invoke or in order to call the constructor. So that is nothing but what? Implicit call. So now we'll see the program, then you can understand. So what is the content that I have in this program? Here I am using the implicit call methodology in order to invoke the constructor. You guys know how to write a constructor function and what are the parameters. That means what are the rules I need to be followed. So regarding all those rules, I have to write this program. So we'll see the program. Here I have a two header files, that is #include iostream.h as well as #include conio.h. Then I'm creating a class. What is the class name here? Class name is num. What is the class name? Num. If I'm using constructor, then what must be the first rule of a constructor? The class name as well as the constructor name must be same, right? After that, the constructor should be declared in a public section. So where it must be? It must be under the scope of public section, as well as it should not have any return type. It should not have any return type. We'll see this num or num member function, that is a constructor, will going to obey all these rules or a set of instructions. So we'll see now. Here I am creating a class called num. After that, it opens the scope of a class. Under the private, I am creating two variables. Which are the two variables that I am creating? It is nothing but what? Data members of a class. That is variables which I am going to declare inside the class. That is data member. Here I have A and B. So what I have? I have A and B as a data member. Okay, listen to me carefully. After that, under the public scope, where I supposed to declare the constructor, it must be under the scope of public. So here what I am taking? I am taking num. So is this same name as of the class? Yes. It has any return type here? No. So that it is following the rules of constructor. Anyway, it is comes under the public section. So that I can call this num as a constructor. Then which type of constructor it is? Already we had a discussion regarding types of constructor. So based on that, you have to find out which type of constructor that I am using there. Okay. Which type of constructor I am using? I am using parameterized constructor. How can I call this as a parameterized constructor? Because inside the parenthesis, I am sending some variables or an argument in order to perform particular task. So that I am going to consider this as a parameterized constructor. So then what are the arguments I am sending? M and N, which is of the data type int. So which is of the data type int. Getting? So I am opening the scope of this num constructor. After that, I am assigning the value of M to A and N to B. So what I am doing here? I am assigning the value of M to A as well as N to B. I am going to end the scope of this num constructor. Then which type of constructor it is? That is parameterized constructor. Getting? After that, I have one function. Can I call this display function as a constructor? No. Why I can't call this display function as a constructor? Because it don't have same name as of the class and it comes under public, but it has a return type. What is that? Void return type. So that I cannot call this display as a constructor. It is a normal function which comes under the scope of a class called num. Then whether I am defining this member function inside or outside the class, where I am defining it inside the class declaration. So where I am defining this member function display inside the class definition. So what I am doing in this display function? So display cout, I am going to display the value of A as well as B. Whatever the value that you are going to give for M and N, that will be copied to A and B respectively. Getting? After that, I am going to display the content of A as well as B. That will be stored in the display function. I am going to end the scope of display function as well as the scope of class. So what I have next? Here I have a main function. So what I have a main function where the actual execution of a program gets started. So that is nothing but what? Main function. Here I am opening a flower brace that indicates us opening of a scope of this main function. After that, what I have here, you have to be very, very conscious. These two lines are very, very important, which depicts that we are using an implicit call. So what I told earlier, implicit call in the sense no need to send or no need to invoke the function. So by default or by the machine or by system tool, it will going to invoke. So that is nothing but implicit call. So then how to call this constructor with the help of this implicit method then? Here I have a class called num. After that what I am doing? I am creating one object. What I am doing? I am creating one object. What is the name of object? That is obj1. That is object 1. So what I am sending? I am sending parameter 10 and 20. So what I am sending? I am sending parameter that is 10 and 20. This 10 and 20 will be assigned to m and n. So how it indirectly mean? M is nothing but what? A, and n is nothing but B. So then what is the value of A and B right now? So it will be 10 and B in the, which will be stored in the object 1. Okay, so when I am going to use that object 1, when I am creating that object 1, at that time constructor will be called. Which constructor will be called? That is parameterized constructor. Here I have two instances of a class, that is object 1 and object 2. So object 1 will going to have a copy of this class, along with object 2 will also have the same copy of the class. Getting? So I have two objects, that is obj1 as well as obj2. I am using what? Parameterized constructor. I am going to send the value of, so after this line I have one more object, that is object 2, under the scope of class num. I am creating an object 2. In this also I am sending two parameters 40 and 50. So when I am creating this object, at the time constructor will be called automatically. Then which is the constructor I am using? When I am going to create this object, at that time this constructor function will get invoked or it will be called. So here I have two arguments or two parameters, that is m and n. Though when the constructor will be called, at that time whatever the value that I have sent within the parenthesis as an argument, that value will be copied to m and n. Getting? So that when I am creating this object 2, so in this context this 40 and 50 will going to be assigned to m and n. That is nothing but what? A and B, because I am going to assign the content of M to A as well as N to B. So when I am creating this object, at that time constructor will be called automatically. So here I no need to specify anything, or that means what? Inside the tool will going to perform by its own. I need to send only the arguments. That is regarding implicit call. Then how can I display the content of object 1 and object 2? What is the method that I need to follow in order to access the member function? First I need to specify the object name. Then I must have the dot operator, that is direct member access operator. Okay, so with the help of that I can call a member function. So where the display functions resides or where the content of that A and B resides, that is comes under display function. So that I am going to call this display function for object 1, for object 2. When I am using this object 1 dot display, at that time control will be moved back to this display function. Where it will be moved? It will be moved to display function. What is there in display? A is equal to content of A, B is equal to content of B. So it is regarding object 1. If you see the output here, what is the object 1 consist of? 10 and 20. So that value will be assigned to A as well as to the B. Getting? After that I am going to call one more function with a object 2 dot display. At that time again control will be transformed to display function. Whatever the content is there in A and B, that will be copied and it will be displayed on a screen like A is equal to 40 and B is equal to 50. After that I am going to close the scope of this main function. So this is how implicit call will going to work. So here what I am sending, so for that implicit call you have a syntax like class name and object name. After that within the parenthesis I need to send the arguments or a parameter. After that semicolon. That we what followed in creation of this implicit call methods. It will going to invoke the constructor automatically by the tool or by inside the machine. User or a programmer no need to do anything externally. That is implicit call. So now we'll see next methods of invoking the constructor, that is explicit call. So what is this explicit call? When I'm using this explicit call, in order to call or in order to invoke the constructor, at the time I need to specify something externally. What I'm supposed to do? I need to send something externally which must be done by user or a programmer. Okay, so external force is required in order to invoke this constructor. So we'll see how this explicit call works with the help of this program. It is same as a previous program. I know that means what? It has a two header files. I have a same class name, that is num. If you are writing an example for implicit, explicit as well as initialization of object using equals operator or a assignment operator, you have to write or you can write the same program for all the three concepts. Okay, so only 2 or 3 lines of code will going to get changed in the void main. Apart from that, everything will be same. So that and all you have to concentrate. If you learn a one program, then you can write a same program code with a slight change for all the three concepts. Okay, that is the main thing that you have to understand here. Again, I have a class name num. I'm going to create 2 variables A and B. But here I'm changing the variable name for the change. So that num is a constructor. I have a 2 variables P and Q. Instead of M and N, I'm taking P and Q. I'm going to assign the content of P to A as well as Q to B. So this is nothing but what? Which type of constructor it is? That is a parameterized constructor. Again, I have a display function. In this display member function, I'm going to display the content of A and B. After that, I'm going to close the scope of this void display function as well as I'm going to end the scope of a class, which is same as the previous program. So coming to the void main, here you have to concentrate. Well, I'm using explicit call. So what I'm supposed to do? I need to assign some value to the object externally. In order to invoke the constructor, I need to assign some values or I need to perform some operation externally in order to invoke or in order to call the constructor function. Getting? So void main, where the actual execution of a program gets started, then it indicates the opening of flat braces, that is scope of a class. So what is the difference between implicit call and explicit call? Just recall the implicit call. There I have to use class name as well as object name. After that, I am going to send some of the parameter or an argument, then closing of this declaration. But in this explicit call, what I am doing? I have a class called num. After that, I am creating an object, that is object 1. After that, what is this? Is equal to. What I am doing? I am giving or I am assigning external content or I am explicitly assigning or I am giving some content to the program by externally. So that is, I have a class name again, that is class name, and I am going to specify the object name is equal to operator. Then I have a class name. Along with that, I am going to send some of the argument or a parameter. Getting? So this is the syntax in order to invoke the constructor explicit or by making use of explicit call. What is the class name here? Num, and I have an object obj1 is equal to num of 10, 20. I am specifying it externally. I am giving the location where I am supposed to write this one or where I am supposed to assign the value of an argument or a parameter. So again here I am calling a constructor function. So I am assigning the value of A or P and Q. If it is P and Q, it is nothing but A and B. Okay, so in the same way, I have one more object, that is, I am creating an object obj2 is equal to num of 40, 50. So again, I am assigning the 40 and 50 to what P and Q of the object 2. Getting? So when I am creating this object, at the time, what parameterized constructor will be called automatically. Whatever the value that I have sent, inside the argument or as an argument, that will be assigned to this P and Q. So P and Q is nothing but what? A and B. Okay. So that is regarding object 1 and object 2. I have one more function or here only I'm specifying or I'm displaying the content. So what I'm displaying in the cout statement, first construction, which is the first construction, that is object 1. So with the help of that object 1, I am going to call member function display. What I have in display? I have a value to display A as well as B, A and B. So we'll see what kind of output that I am going to get. So cout first construction. So what I am doing here, object 1 dot display. What it indicates? I am calling a function, which is the function here, display member function. With the help of this dot operator, I am calling a display member function. When I am using this object 1 dot display, at that time control will be moved to this display member function. So what I have therein? So A and B, it will going to display the content of A and B. So which is preceded by a line called first construction. Then what is the value of this A and B? For the first object, that is 10 and 20. So here in the output you can see that first construction colon, that is A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. After that I have one more line, that is cout second construction is equal to obj2 dot display. So with the help of second object, I am calling a member function, that is a display member function. So when I am calling this display member function, the control will be moved back to the display function. Again the value of P and Q will be assigned to A and B. Then I am going to have a line like second construction, A is equal to 40 and B is equal to 50. After that, I have a closing of void main. That is, main function will get closed here. This is regarding explicit call. So with the help of this explicit call, I am going to give some content to be help to invoke the constructor. That is regarding explicit call. I hope you all understood with implicit and explicit call. So let me move on to the next one. That is, how can I initialize an object? How can I initialize an object at the time of its declaration? You know, when I'm creating or when I'm declaring an object, at that time the constructor will be called. When I'm creating an object, at that time constructor will be called. How can I use this method? That means how can I initialize an object at the time of its declaration with the help of equal to or assignment operator. So before getting into this, you have to remember one thing. So this is different and is equal to is different. So this is assignment operator and it is relational operator. Okay. So is equal to in the sense, A is equal to X in the sense, what I am doing here, I am assigning the X value to A. But when I am using this is equal to, that is double equal to, at the time I am going to check whether this A is equal to X. At the time what? It becomes wrong because A is not equal to X. So this is the difference that you have to understand while making use of assignment operator as well as the relational operator. Getting? So now we'll see how can I use this method in order to invoke the constructor with the same function. Yes, I have a same function or same class, that is num, and I have only one variable. Why I have only one variable? Because when I'm using this assignment operator, in order to initialize an object at the time of its declaration, it will going to take only one argument, or it will going to take only one parameter or a single variable. So that with the help of that assignment operator, I can initialize an object at the time of its declaration in order to invoke or in order to call the constructor. So you are not supposed to take two arguments or a two parameter. Instead of that, you have to take only one argument or a parameter. How it works, we'll see now. So under the scope of private, I have one data variable, that is A. Under the scope of public, I have a constructor. It has the same name as of the class and it has no return type and it comes under public. So that I can say that this num is a constructor. Then which type of constructor it is? That is a parameterized constructor, because within that parenthesis, it is taking an argument or a parameter. So that I can call this as a parameterized constructor. Getting, students? After that, what I am doing? I am initializing the value of m to A. I'm initializing the value of m to a, then I have a display function. In that, I'm going to display the content of a. What I'm doing? I'm going to display the content of a. Okay. So then I'm going to close the scope of this class. Coming to the main function. Coming to the main function, that is void main, where the actual execution of a program get started. So here, opening of the flower brace. So what I'm supposed to do for the initialization of an object at the time of its declaration. How to declare? We have a data type and I need to specify the variable. For example, int a. So what I'm doing? I'm just declaring. What if I want to initialize? What if I want to initialize? That means I'm going to assign some value to that variable. That is nothing but initialization. I'm going to give some value for the existing variable. That is initialization. How can I initialize an object at the time of its declaration? When I'm declaring an object, at that time, by default constructor will be called. But with the help of this method or with the help of this assignment operator, how can I initialize an object at the time of its declaration? At that time, what I must do? I must specify the class name as well as the object name along with is equal to. That is nothing but what? Assignment operator. I must send some of the value to that variable or to that object. So we'll see now. Here I have a class num. After that, I'm creating one object, that is obj1. Then what is the syntax in order to invoke by this method? I must use this assignment operator. What I'm supposed to do? I must use this assignment operator in order to initialize an object at the time of its declaration. Here I'm declaring an object and I have assignment operator and I have a value in order to initialize or in order to assign this value to the object 1. In the same way, I'm going to do this for the object 2 as well. That is num object 2 is equal to 200. Then what is the value of object 1 now? That is 100. What is the value of object 2? That is 200. How can I say this? Because I have assigned the value of that object at the time of its declaration itself. So this is one of the method in order to invoke. So when I am using this method, at this time 100 will be copied to this object 1. So when I am using this object or when I am creating this object, so by default it will come to this constructor function. It will going to invoke the constructor function. So what is the parameter or an argument that I have inside the constructor function? That is m. So m is nothing but a. So when I am using this method, at that time a will be assigned to 100. It is for object 1. It is for object 1. When I am calling the second object or when I am declaring the second object, I am assigning some value to the object 2. Right? I am assigning some value to the object 2. At that time, object 2, so a will become 200. What it become? It become 200. So after that, I have some statement to be displayed. Object 1 is equal to object 1 dot display. When I am calling this display function, at that time control will become to this point. Then what is there in the display function? Here I am just displaying the content of a variable. Let me tell you one thing, when you have a same variable name within the cout statement, when you have a same variable name and same statement name within the cout statement, here you have to understand one thing. Let me take one example, cout A, cout A, cout A. So then what is the difference between these two things? What is the difference, students? Here I am taking the same thing, cout A and cout A. So here you have to concentrate. I have a double quotes. So if any value which is enclosed between a double quotes, then I am going to consider that as a statement. When I have a same value or a same variable name without the double quotes, at that time it will going to display the content of that variable. So instead of displaying this as a statement, it will going to display that as the content of that variable. So here in the output statement, I am going to get A, and what is the value of A in the second statement? That will be printed. So this is what the difference between what displaying the content as well as displaying the statement. Okay, so be conscious while writing that kind of programs. And coming to the next line, cout object2, that is object2.display. Again, I'm calling this function, that is display function. So when I'm calling this function, at the time the content of a of object2 will be display. Then what will be the output? Object1 is equal to 100, object2 is equal to 200. So this is how implicit call, explicit call as well as initialization object during its declaration with the help of this assignment operator help us out in order to invoke the constructor. So with the help of all these three methods, we can invoke the constructor. So I hope you all understood with this topic. Let me get into the next topic, that is constructor overloading. What is this constructor overloading? I just wanted you to recall what is function overloading. So that is nothing but what? Two or more function having a same name, but that must be differs in number of parameter as well as the type of a data that I am going to specify. That is nothing but what? Function overloading. So then what is constructor overloading then? I can use two or more constructor in a same program, but it must have a same name but must be differs in a signature. That means what? I can use a default constructor in a same program and I can also have a parameterized constructor in a same program. That is nothing but constructor overloading. Two or more constructor can be involved, can be used in a same program, but that must be differs in a number of arguments and a type of argument. So what I have after this constructor overloading, that is destructor. Why we require constructor? In order to initialize the data members of a class. At the time, it will going to allocate some memory space. When I am declaring something in the sense based on that data type, it will going to assign the memory location. But what if I want to destroy that memory location? At the time, I must go with this destructor. Okay, so both are different, constructor and destructor. So constructors are mainly used to construct or mainly used to allocate the memory for a data variables of a class. So why I require this destructor then? It is also a special member function. It has same name as of the class. But when I am using this destructor, automatically it will going to destroy or it will going to deallocate the memory space which is allocated by constructor. That is nothing but what? Destructor. It is very important topic. What do you mean by destructor and what are the rules in order to use the destructor? We'll let you know with the help of syntax as well as the program. So here you have to remember one thing. Constructor has same name as of the class. Even destructor has same name as of the class and it must be comes under public section and it has no return type. But when I'm using this destructor, at that time the name of a destructor must be preceded by tilde symbol. So what I'm supposed to take? It must be specified by tilde symbol. After that, I must take the same class name with a function. That is the usage of destructor. And you must remember one thing. I can take any number of constructor in a program. That is nothing but what? Constructor overloading. But I must take only one destructor. So I cannot overload the destructor. I can use only one destructor in my program. So we'll see some of the points regarding this destructor. So it is a special member function. When it will be executed then? So when the objects of a particular class is destroyed or when I'm going to deallocate the memory space of an object, at that time this destructor will be called. When the usage of object gets over, at that time this destructor will be called. And destroying an object means what I'm doing here? What is this destroying? Am I demolishing anything? No. So destroying in the sense what? I am deallocating the memory space or a resources which is allocated to an object by the constructor. Because with the help of constructor, I am going to assign some of the memory space or a resource. When I am calling this destructor function, automatically whatever the memory content or whatever the resource which is allocated to that object will be destroyed. That is regarding destructor. Getting? and it's like a same like constructor. It has the same name of a class as well as it is special member function. But when we are using this destructor, it must be preceded by a tilde symbol. Very, very important question. It must be preceded by what? Tilde symbol. So we'll see syntax and example for this destructor. What is the syntax? So just recall the syntax of constructor. It is same as syntax of constructor, but in using destructor, it must be preceded by the tilde symbol. Here I have a class keyword and class name is there, and I'm opening the scope of a class under the scope of public. Under the scope of public, I'm creating one class. I'm creating one member function. So how can I call this as a constructor? Because it has the same name as of the class and it must be under the public section, and you have to check it out whether it has a return type or not. So here I don't have any of the return type, so that easily I can call this as a constructor. What I can call this as a constructor. Then what this destructor must be? It must be preceded by what? Tilde symbol. Whatever the rules that you are going to follow for the constructor will be same for the destructor, but it must be preceded by tilde symbol. It is also special member function. Will be used to deallocate the memory space or deallocate the resources of an object which is allocated by the constructor. And remember one thing, you have to call the constructor first. Getting? So this is how I am going to close the scope of a class. Coming to the example. Here I have a class called counter, and here I have a member function with the same name as of the class, so that I am going to consider this as a constructor. Which type of constructor it is? Here I don't have any argument, so that I can call this as a default constructor. Getting? And opening of the flower braces, and I have one variable of n. I am assigning the value of n to 0. Okay. Here you need to declare int n is equal to 0, and I am going to close the scope of this counter. Then I have a destructor function. What I have? I have a destructor function with a function body. I can have only one destructor function throughout my program. Whatever the content is allocated or whatever the content is written in the constructor will be deallocated by making use of this destructor function. I hope you all understood with destructor concept. So it is same as a constructor function. Here I am going to have a same name as of the class, and it must be preceded by tilde symbol. It has no return type and it must be comes under public section, and I cannot overload the destructor because it must be a default type of destructor. I cannot include any of the argument or a parameter within the destructor so that it cannot be overloaded. Okay, so these are the points that you have to remember while reading the characteristics of a destructor. I hope you all understood with destructor and types of constructor, as well as how can I invoke the constructor function. There you have to concentrate implicit, explicit, as well as by using the assignment operator with syntax along with the example program. By seeing all these content, let me explain you one program which may include types of constructor and constructor overloading as well as destructor. So we'll see the program now. Here I am calculating a simple interest. So what do you mean by simple interest? So which are the content that I require? I require principal amount, time and rate of interest. So those are the three variables that I am going to take, and I am going to take one more variable in order to store the computation value in that variable. After that, I am going to use constructor overloading method along with the types of constructor that you may see in this program. So we'll get into the program. Here I have two header files, that is include ivostream.h and conio.h. I am creating a class called simple interest. What I am creating? I am creating a class called simple interest, and this indicates the opening of a class. So this indicates opening of a class. I have four variables here, that is data members of a class. Which are the four variables? That is P, R, T as well as SI. So SI is nothing but simple interest. So in that variable, I am going to store the content after the computation. So that I have taken SI here. But why I am taking float? Because in this program, I may give the floating point variables for the principal amount as well as the time as per the rate of interest. So, ma'am, can't we use int data type for this variable declaration? Yes, you can use. So, how can you use that int variable or int data types? When I'm using that int, if I'm going to get any of the fraction part, that will be cutted out or trimmed out. So, I'm going to get only whole numbers. So, in order to avoid this situation, I am taking this float data type for the variable p, rt as well as si. That is the reason. After that, under the public section, I have one member function. Ma'am, it is constructor. Why are you calling this as a member function? Till now, I don't know whether it is a constructor or a member function, because I need to check it out whether it is a constructor or a member function or a normal function. So that means what I'm supposed to do, I need to recall all the constructor rules. So what are the rules? Again, I need to check. It has the same name as of the class. Yes, it is true. And it comes under a public section. Yes, it is true. It has any return type. No, I don't have any return type here. So that I can call this simple interest as a constructor. Because it has the same name of class, it comes under public and it has no return type. Then which type of constructor it is? You have to remember which type of constructor it is. That is default constructor. You have to check it out whether I am sending any of the arguments or a parameter within the parenthesis. No. So that I can call this as a default constructor. So here I don't have any of the function body. This opening and closing of the flower brace indicates the scope of that constructor, which is of default type of constructor. And let me have one line, that is what? Simple interest of float x, float y, float z. Can I call this as a constructor or a function? Again, I can call this as a constructor. Even it has the same name as of the class. No return type is specified and it is under the scope of public. So I can call this as a constructor. Then which kind of constructor it is? It is a parameterized constructor. How can I recognize this as a parameterized constructor? Because here I am sending some of the arguments or a parameter. Which are the three arguments that I am using? X, Y, Z. So can you see that? X, Y, Z are the arguments of a data type float. So why I require these three variables or these three arguments? In order to copy the content of x to p, that is principal amount, I am going to copy the content of y to r and I am going to copy the content of z to t. So x stands for principal amount then, and this y stands for rate of interest, and this z stands for t, that is time duration that you are going to give. Okay, so this indicates opening and closing of the flower brace indicates scope of the or end of the scope of this simple interest constructor, that is parameterized constructor. I hope you understood till now. So now we'll see. I have one more function. What is the function? Why I am calling this as a function? I need to check it out whether it is a function or a constructor. So coming to this one, here only I am found what I am getting return type. If I have return type, how can I call that as a constructor? So this compute is not a constructor. It is just a member function or a simple function, that is compute, which you have to check it out again whether it is defined inside the class definition or outside the class definition. So go with the class and you have to check, did I close the class scope? No. So here I have an end of the class, so that I can recognize this as a definition of a member function inside the class definition. What I am doing? I am defining the member function inside the class definition. What I am doing then within this compute member function, I am taking the value of p, r, t, then I am going to multiply each other, then I am going to divide that by 100 in order to get the simple interest. So that's what I am doing here, p, t, r over 100. Then that whatever the content or whatever the computation value that you are going to get, that will be stored in the variable called si. So where it will be stored? It will be stored in the variable called si. I am going to display the content. See out, simple interest is. So where the actual value of that simple interest has been stored, that is in the variable si. Getting? After this, I am going to end the scope of this member function, that is compute. Then what it is? Now only I have discussed with you, that is destructor. So how many destructor that I can use in a single program? It must be only one. Whatever the content I am going to allocate for the constructor, that will be destroyed, deallocated the resources by making use of this destructor. When I am creating an object, at that time the contents or a resources will be allocated to the object of a class. But when I am using this destructor in my program, at that time whatever the content that I have assigned by making use of the constructor will be deallocated or will be destroyed automatically when I am calling this destructor function. Okay, I am going to end the scope of this class. Here you have to remember one thing. It has the same name as of the class. It is a special member function and it must be preceded by tilde symbol. It must be preceded by tilde symbol so that I can call that as a destructor. So here I am going to end the scope of a class. Then main function I have where the actual execution of a program get started. Then simple interest S1. What I am doing? I am creating one object for a class called simple interest. So that when I am using or when I am creating this S1 object, did I include any of the parameter within that S1 object? No. So if I am not using any of the parameter, which constructor will be invoked? That is nothing but default constructor. When I am not specifying any parameters or an argument when I am creating an object, at that time default constructor will be invoked. So I am creating one more object with the name of S2. What is the second object name? That is S2. So within S2 object, I am sending some parameter. What are the parameter that I am sending? Here I am taking 10,000 and 12 and 2. So this is nothing but P because here I have taken P, R, T. So X is nothing but principal amount and Y is nothing but rate of interest and Z is nothing but time. In the same way, I am supposed to give the value or a parameter value. So here principal amount become 10,000 and rate of interest will be 12% and the time given is for 2 years. So these are the content which will be allocated to X, Y, Z. That is indirectly means what? P, R, T in a respective manner. So that it will going to, when I am creating this object, at that time this constructor, that is parameterized constructor, will be invoked. Okay, and whatever the content is there, that will be assigned to those variables. Yes, this is regarding first line of a code. Then S2.compute. So when I am with the help of this S2 object, I am calling a member function called compute. When I am calling this member function, the control will be moved back to this compute member function. So what I have in compute? So whatever the content or whatever the value of a variable that I am going to give will be assigned to this PTR and it will be multiplied by each other. Then it will going to divide by 100. Whatever the value that I am going to get for the simple interest will be stored in the variable called SI. Will be stored in the variable called SI. So that value will be displayed on the screen. Then I am going to end the scope of this main function. Yes, it is all regarding this program that includes types of a parameter as well as how can I invoke or which methodology I am using, whether it is implicit or explicit. Let me know in the comment section. After that, we had a discussion regarding destructor. If they ask you to write a program in order to illustrate the constructor, destructor or types of a constructor, for all these topics you can write a simple program. So this single program will help you to fetch out 5 marks in your examination. I hope you all understood with the today's session as well as constructor and destructor chapter. So that we are at the end of this constructor and destructor chapter, and here I have some of the important questions for you all. So here I have some of 2 marks important question which was frequently asked in the last 6-year question paper. You can have the screenshot of this important question. After that, try to answer the questions. These I have the important 2 marks question as well as 5 marks important question. What is constructor? What are the features of constructor? And what are the types of constructor? And each type you have to concentrate along with its characteristics and features, and syntax and example is important, as well as how can I invoke the constructor? What are the methods that I can invoke the constructor, whether it is implicit, explicit, or by making use of the assignment operator? Then what is constructor overloading, and how can I use the destructor, and what are the characteristics of a destructors? Yes, it's all about constructor and destructor chapter. I hope you all enjoyed and learned some of the concepts from my side. I hope it will help you out. Meet you in the next session with the next chapter. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you very much.